Oh, Sensei. Well, we're back for a reading of This Canoe is Heavy by Grandmother Gentle Bear. And this will be the final reading of Book 1. Tea is ready. We last left off, they were building a smoker to bring things back to the big village. And Grandmother was feeling very blessed. The morning came early, as it always does, bright and sunny, and the smell of fish on the fire. Thoughtful grandsons are so good to me. They are a blessing. When someone cares for you and sees to your needs, you know you are loved. We get right to work after the fish breakfast, fishing, gutting, and filleting the fish for hanging in the smoker. And while I'm making some baskets, here comes my youngest grandson to come foraging with me. He has a great eye, and I call him my little hawk. He has a good heart and a solid mind, always watching, thinking, and not saying much. But when he does speak, he knows what he's talking about. It will be a few years yet before he goes off on his own to test himself and return a man. So for now, we enjoy each other's company and we learn from each other. He doesn't have siblings, but he has his cousins, and that's just as good. They'll learn from each other and they'll look out for each other. The smoker is finished and the fish are being hung. A slow burn with alder wood. You don't want to over smoke though, because then the fish and the meat will be bitter. Alder wood will give the fish a soft flavor. It's a small teepee-style smoker covered with pine boughs. It will smoke for many hours and will be our first preserved and stored food at the little village. What we don't eat will come back with us across the lake and beyond to the big village. Just then we hear a sharp scream, and Little Hawk takes off into the forest and into the thick brush. He comes back minutes later, holding a rabbit by the ears. The snare helped give us food before sleep. Rabbit over the fire and fish smoking, we've settled in nicely. Fresh greens are everywhere this time of year, and healthy eating. 2 large baskets full of smoked dry fish. Trout, mostly trout. Most were gutted and smoked whole with tail and head still on. No waste that way. And in a few thin sliced fish, leather-like jerky turned out good. A pot of fish soup bubbles over the fire, and my grandsons are busy carving large spoons for soup. My mouth is watering and my tummy is rumbling. It must be time for soup. I remind them it's not a race. The soup needs a bit of time on the fire. And as I move the pot to the side of the fire, we can see some young deer in the tree line. Soon we will hunt for moose and deer to feed the big village for winter. Smokers all through the village will be full with fish and meat. Wild wheat will be ground down for flour for bannock, as well as other greens that can be ground down for flour. We'll cook that bannock over the fire with currants and rendered fat. All that and more is waiting back at the big village. Soon we'll be there getting ready for winter too, and helping each other with food and wood for heat and cooking. Our little adventure will soon take us back home with many stories to tell. We stayed a few extra days and nights. It was hard to leave. The poplar and birch along the mountain valley had begun to turn orange and yellow, and autumn was on its way. The cool nights and foggy mornings. This canoe is heavy and sits low in the water, laden with gifts of food, herbs, sage, and baskets of smoked fish. I helped carry the canoe on our first portage, while some supplies in the baskets are left behind. We'll have to make a few trips on the trail till we can load up on the canoe again. We sleep under the stars that night, and we laugh until we fall asleep. We pick up the canoe and kayak and come to the water's edge. We will cross the lake today, even though this canoe is heavy. We load up and head across the lake, skirting the shore for a bit, and then into the headwind and waves. We hear cheers and whoops from the shore as we come near. We didn't dare look back for fear that we might not leave. It was good to be missed. 3 young boys left camp, and 3 excited young men returned. They began to offer baskets of food and herbs to the villagers. It's already late in the day, and all I can think of is a hot cup of tea and my comfy bunk. The stories flowed long into the night. Not only our adventure stories, but also stories of what happened in the village while we were away. Funny stories and happy stories. Sage bundles smoked and we washed away any bad thoughts or spirits. Thanks that we made it back safe and that the spirits didn't take us. It didn't take long and we were right back into village life and dreaming and planning our next adventure, maybe this spring. For now it's time to hunt and fill the meat stores. Winter brings its own challenges and rewards, and there will be plenty of adventures in the snow and on the ice. Ice fishing, following tracks in the snow, setting snares and trap lines, checking old bear dens to see that they're sleeping, and all the winter birds and their beautiful songs. We get to know each seasonal type of bird and their singing and chirping. It's all a happy circle of life. I'll spend most of the winter inside where it's warm, keeping the little ones busy, well fed, and warm. There's always winter chores. Outside it's wood and trapping, fishing, hunting, but mostly gathering wood and chopping and stacking for warmth and cooking and ceremonies. Inside it's busy with small children. Love my grandchildren. There's cooking to be done, usually a pot or two warmed near the fire with fish soup or warm meat. Cleaning is daily and done by all. Stitching and sewing hides and making cloths and moccasins. And when you get a bunch of women and children together, there's a lot of laughter, lessons, and love. We bundle up the little ones and get them outside for some fresh air and to play in the snow. Like little bears, they waddle and stumble around in their fur hats and fur coats and mucklucks. The village in winter is magical with snow hanging from roof edges and the cabins covered in snow. The center wigwam looks like a long igloo and lights up at night from the fire inside. Long winter sleeps have me dreaming of spring and another adventure across the lake and beyond. And that's the end of Book 1. This Canoe is Heavy by Grandmother Gentle Bear. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I did. Tell me some of your stories in the comments. Like and subscribe to keep this little channel going and the stories coming out. And once in a while, I'll read some of those viewer comments and stories. The reading of Book 2 is a continuation and will begin tomorrow with longer reading sessions. I'll see you on the next reading. Remember to be kind to nature and go into the woods as often as you can. I enjoyed that story. It was good. Crazy.